37% of homes had a price reduction last month. That's the highest in 5 years. So people look online and they see down arrows, and sometimes they think, oh, well, the prices are going down. Prices are going to go down. I'm going to wait till the prices go down. And so that's why we have this chart here showing that the average price in California has consistently gone up. So even though sellers are reducing their prices, when they close escrow, the closed escrows are going higher. They're going higher, and they're higher right now than they ever have been. So when you see 37% going down, that means that the sellers were asking more than the market value, and they just reduced their price as a result. Not that home values are going down. Anyway, so with 37%, with a lot of properties sellers going down, how does that impact a prospective buyer in your view, or borrower?
Again, I go back to having a strong offer. I think people, what this shows is that people had this perception that home prices were just going to, keep going straight up. I mean, they don't always go, they're not going to go straight up, right? So people had this, they inflated their sales price because they thought that they could get the price. Well, things got to have to come back down to reality somewhat. So home prices are still higher than they were. I mean, if you look at this chart, they're still higher than they were, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So are prices going down? No, I think people just, overinflated their asking price. But again, if you come in with a strong offer and you're under the asking price, but it's a strong offer, you have a good chance of getting your offer accepted.
That's right. And so a seller, like in this market, seeing that prices are the down arrows, a lot of times sellers feel that their property is worth more than what it is. Is reality. Market value. The definition of market value, just so those in case we're not watching understand, market value is when you put a property on the market and the property is not in default and the seller is not in distress and does not need a quick sale. Puts the property on the open market and the property has been on the market for a couple weeks. The highest price that a buyer will give when everyone has had access to the property, that is the definition of market value. So these 37% of sellers, they thought the market spoke to them. They thought their property was worth a lot more than what it was, and the market told them, no, it's not. You price it too high, and so they reduced their price. So that's just something for a seller wants to make sure that they price their property. If they want to sell it, they have to price their property. Listen to their realtor. Look at the qualitative and quantitative factors that go into pricing a property. When you see when you see your home on a website and you see a price, it doesn't mean that a buyer is going to give you that price. You have to look at the actual features of the property, the ones that sold. Look at the features of the ones that sold. Look at the features with your property. How do they actually compare? And that's going to give you the ballpark price.
Okay. Yeah, and then going back to that, Luis, I mentioned everything short of the appraisal for your loan, and if a home price is overly inflated, the appraisal will come back and it'll tell you what the market price is. If the appraisal comes in, if you put a home on the market for $1 million and the appraisal comes in at $900,000, the lender's only going to lend on that $900,000 number. So if you're the seller, you better hope that your buyer really loves that home and they're willing to put up the $100,000 difference in cash, or else you're gonna have to drop your price, right? And same thing if you're the buyer. If you're buying a home for $1 million and the appraisal comes in at 900,000, either you have to put up that $100,000 difference somehow, or go find somewhere else, another place to buy. So you got to be careful, and you do have to listen to your realtor when you list your home.
Okay. That's right.